What is up, guys? I'm not wearing my glasses because I'm sick of the glare. Anyways, in this video, we're going to be talking about how you can collect Pokemon like a pro. So stick around, stay tuned for these awesome 4 tips, and I'm going to cover some Pokemon that I personally have in my collection, and just kind of give some of my insights on how you can collect Pokemon like a pro. So before we get into some of these slabs, I real quick want to talk about 4 categories that you should be looking out for when collecting Pokemon. And that's number 1, quality over quantity. And this can be really hard with Pokemon, especially when you gotta catch them all. But believe it or not, one of the worst things you could probably do when collecting Pokemon, especially when you're looking to have a valuable collection and not just a huge collection, is not keeping them all. And that's where quality over quantity comes in. Now, of course, for some of you guys who are chasing master sets and just looking to complete your entire run and become the best Pokemon trainer, I understand if you're chasing after every card, and go ahead. But this video is kind of just more for those collectors who are not looking to just have a bunch of cards, and they're trying to have a really meaningful and valuable collection, because that is personally what I want to do. I want to collect what I love and what I can also be happy to say that I have and show for it, and show the value for it as well. Because sometimes if you collect so many cards, the value actually starts to fall off. You can kind of have this, point where it's going up and up and up with the value of your collection. And then there's kind of this median point where you have so many cards or so many slabs that it is going to be so much work to sell them or to offhand them to a business or a card show or whatever it is, that your collection is actually not increasing in value anymore. So tip number 1 is quality over quantity. And we're going to be looking at some examples that I feel fulfill most, if not all, of these categories. The second tip is a high grade. So this kind of works hand in hand with quality, because high grades basically meaning that you want to be chasing those gem mint cards, whether they're raw cards or whether they're graded cards. This really speaks for not just graded collections. I know that probably most of you watching are going to be collecting graded cards, just because I really do love graded cards and I talk about them so much in a lot of my videos. But this really does apply to raw cards even. Collecting the more high quality and gem mint cards, you don't necessarily have to slab it just because it's a high quality card. So that's tip number 2, is high grades. Tip number 3 is rare cards. And this basically just comes down to what's on the population report for like websites like PSA or CGC or Beckett. Really, this just comes down to how many of those cards are available to the public. So whether there's 100 on the population report or 1,000 or 15,000, really, I think that rare cards are something that are truly cool to collect. And I think that it can make an excellent talking piece, especially if it's a unique card, like something that is signed and authenticated or whatever it may be. Maybe there's just not many of them that are in a 10. So the third tip is rare cards. And then the fourth and final tip is iconic Pokemon. So these are going to be, your Charizards, your Pikachus, your Evolutions, your Rayquazas, whatever it may be, just Pokemon that are iconic. They have icon status. They're one of the first Pokemon that people may think of when they think of the word Pokemon, and so really, I think that collecting iconic Pokemon is also extremely safe, because if you want to collect all of that Pokemon and then later down the road you decide, you know what, I want to change my collection up. I want to start collecting more Pikachu, then I want to collect Charizard. At least if you do want to make that change at some point, that catch and release, there can be a lot of enjoyment of that catch and release and hunting for cards. And if you want to make that change from something like a Graveler, for example, like let's say you have an all Graveler collection, like it is going to be extremely hard to find that buyer that is going to want to buy your 100 gravel or PSA 10s, you know? They may be cool, they may be holos or rare or high grades, but if it's a card or a Pokemon that not many people are interested in, you could be shooting yourself in the foot if you're just getting into collecting. So that's the fourth tip, is iconic Pokemon. Collect iconic Pokemon. So we're gonna go ahead and switch to the computer here and show just what cards I'm talking about. So this is the first card. I've got it right here. I just recently picked up this card. This is the Vaporeon EX from 2007 World Championships. Super happy to have picked up this card. I actually posted about it in a video a couple weeks back, and if you haven't already, go check out that video. It was super awesome. I ended up picking up one of my biggest collections yet, an over $1,000 collection, and it included just a bunch of these amazing evolutions. And as some of you may know, I do love evolutions. So Vaporeon EX. All right, so we're gonna go through our checklist here. This is the exact card right here, and we're just gonna go through this checklist briefly of some of our points. So quality over quantity. First off, you know, quality over quantity is kind of works hand in hand with almost all of these tips in it. But I think that this is just obviously an extremely high quality card because it's a Gem Mint 10. It's in a PSA slab, which I personally think is some of the coolest slabs of all time. That's just personal preference, to each their own. And also, it's the World Championships 2007. It's extremely unique. Look at this background there for the card. So I did want to just take a few steps back and just basically say that the quality over quantity really is more referring to the broad sense of your collection versus individual purchases that you have in your collection. It's really just to persuade you against this mindset of collecting thousands of slabs or thousands of vintage cards, and really just prefer to have those higher quality cards than just having thousands of slabs. And you're not really going to be able to enjoy those slabs because they're just going to sit in a box, or, you know, and I mean, if they're investments, that's a different story. That's a completely different video. This is really just truly how to collect Pokemon. So anyways, this card is super cool, super high quality. It definitely fulfills that high grade, which is the second point, because it is Gem Mint 10. And then rare cards. Well, you might be thinking, okay, well, how rare is this card in a Gem Mint 10? And we can see that it is a Pop 5 card. There is no population higher, of course, on PSA's website because 10 is the best. And yeah, you know, that is a rare card. That is truly rare. I am one of the 5 people in the world that has this card in a Gem Mint 10. And I think that that is super awesome to be able to say that. And then iconic Pokemon. Vaporeon might not be the most iconic of the evolutions, but I think that the evolutions are very popular, and I personally just love Vaporeon. It is my favorite of the evolutions, and you'll probably be able to tell that from some of the other cards on this list. But it checks all 4 of those boxes, and that is why I collect it, and that's the same philosophy that I think you guys should follow. Next up, we've also got another PSA slab, and it is going to be another Vaporeon. I've had this one for quite some time now. This is the Vaporeon Vmax that you can see on screen there, and it is in a Gem Mint 10. And this is from the Vaporeon Vmax Premium Collection boxes. And so these boxes had these cards loose, with no plastic, no sleeve, no top loader, no nothing, just loose in the box, in between plastic, shifting around. And I bought so many of these collection boxes, and I opened up the box, I graded the cards, and I got not a single 10 except for this Vaporeon Vmax. And I have had this card literally since 2021, since I bought that collection box. And I am super happy that I got it. I'm super happy that it's in a 10, and it is truly a Gem Mint 10. It is absolutely flawless. I wouldn't be surprised if I sent it to Beckett and I got a black label. Am I willing to risk that? Not really. But this card may not necessarily fulfill our rare cards category because there is 2,300 in the population of a Gem Mint 10. So it's not necessarily a super rare card, and it's not necessarily a super unique card, but it is a promo card. And that's part of the reason that that is the case. You know, these were cards that were just easily obtainable by purchasing a box. You didn't have to rely on, you know, pull rates or opening up thousands of packs. So I don't feel like this category really applies as much to this card, but it is absolutely an iconic Pokemon. It fulfills the other three categories. It's high quality, high grade, and it's an iconic Pokemon, and that's why I think that it's worth collecting, and that's why I have it in my collection. Next up, just carrying on straight on through. Unfortunately, we don't have a picture for this one, but it is this Espeon Vmax alternate artwork in a Beckett 9.5, and that is Gem Mint. So this card also maybe not the most rare card. You can see that in a 9.5 there's 300 of them from Fusion Strike, and then in a 10 there's 59, and in a Black Label there is 6 of them. But still not like crazy. I mean, for example, the Moonbryon alt art, there's, you know, thousands of those in a 10. So it's like, you know, I personally feel like this is like fairly rare. And then also it's just a super awesome, iconic Pokemon, a super iconic artwork. A lot of people chase after the Fusion Strike alt arts. Fusion Strike has a notoriously bad pull rate. It's very difficult to, you know, chase after that Gengar alt art, and of course the Espeon Vmax here. And yeah, I think that this is a super awesome card to collect. I'm super happy that I picked this up in that collection that I was telling you about. And yeah, I think that it's definitely an awesome and very worthwhile collecting card. Next up, we have also another Beckett slab. It's the Sylveon Alt Art Vmax. Some of you may have seen this one coming because I also got it in that collection. And yeah, this is another card where it's just like, you know, there's 400 of them in a 9.5. You've got about 150 that are in a higher grade. And yeah, you know, I think that it's a super iconic artwork. Very, very high grade. It is a Gem Mint. And I understand that it is a 9.5 and not necessarily a 10, but it would be a PSA 10 and it would be a CGC 10 as well. So it is definitely a high grade, definitely a quality card and an iconic Pokemon. And you know, it differs what is truly rare because it's all about supply and demand. I personally think that 700 total on the census is really not that much, considering this is like a really phenomenal artwork. And you know, I think that there's a lot of people that are looking for this card. You know, there's a lot of Evolutions collectors, and you know, for the right price, there's a lot of people that would definitely jump on this card. And next up, this one is kind of an interesting one, but stick with me here. I think that it really does fulfill all of the categories. And this one, I have to thank a subscriber to the channel, actually, for giving a comment and kind of giving me some insight on this card. This is the Cloyster from Base Expansion Pack, First Edition in Japanese. And it's in a Gem Mint 9.5. I have it right here. And, you know, he shared this comment, and I'll put it on screen here if I found it, that this is actually the only holographic Cloyster artwork that Pokemon has ever done. There is no other holographic Cloyster artwork. There is other Cloyster holographics because the same artwork has been done in English and Japanese, and I'm sure other languages too, possibly. But this is the only artwork that they ever did a holo version for. And I think that that is super, super cool. And this is a Gem Mint, and I understand that it's a 9.5, but it is the old blue label from CGC. So if I wanted to, I could send it to CGC to be reholdered at a cost, and they would put it in the black and white new labels and give it a 10. Do I want to do that? Not particularly. And part of the reason for that is just because of the fact that since they're not doing the blue labels anymore at CGC, I think that the blue labels are actually going to be more interesting for people to collect because they won't be able to get those blue labels ever again. And just personally, I actually took kind of a big risk with one of my personal grails that I have. You can see right here a CGC pristine 10 label right there for the Umbreon V from Vmax Climax, the character super rare. That is currently at Beckett right now, and I'm trying to see if it can get a black label 10. You probably will be seeing a video about that very, very soon, and I'm super excited to see what that comes back. But anyways, this card fulfills the quality over quantity because of the fact that it's a truly rare card. And Cloyster might not be the most iconic Pokemon, to be fair. And I know that all the other Pokemon on this list were evolutions, but I think that just the fact that it's got that kind of like fun, style to it, like Cloyster's like such a silly Pokemon. And the fact that it's so unique that it is the only holographic that exists for this Pokemon, like for this artwork, this is the only holo version. They just completely forgot about them for the rest of the cards that they did for Cloyster. And then it's a high grade. It's a Gem Mint 10, even though it's a 9.5 right here, it is a Gem Mint 10 right now for CGC. And then rarity. It is a rare card. I mean, in a Gem Mint 10, you can see there's only 22 and there's 4 in a higher grade. That is not that many. And if there's any confusion there for why it says in Gem Mint 10, it's because CGC changed all the information for these 9.5s that they are actually 10s. So it's Gem Mint, therefore there's 22 of them in existence. And I don't know if they're all blue labels or black and white labels, but either way, there's 22 of them. I can say that I have one of 22 of these cards that exist in a CGC case. And yeah, it's just a super cool Expedition era card. And I'm super happy to have it, I think that it's just really collectible. So anyways, that's going to wrap up this video, guys. I really hope you did enjoy, and maybe you were able to take away something from this video about how you can collect Pokemon like a pro. It was super cool to be able to, go through these cards with you and show my thought process and my insights on how I collect Pokemon. And like I say so many times on this channel, to each their own, collect what you love and you can never go wrong. And even if it defies all 4 of these categories and you just really love that card, you just want it so badly, then go for it. Go for it. I don't want to hold you back from making that awesome purchase or that awesome trade. Do what you want. I feel like I've made plenty of decisions that, looking back, I was like, should I have done that? Maybe not, but I'm glad I did it. It was fun to be able to play that game of catch and release and enjoy it while I had it. Anyways, I digress. Thank you for tuning into this one. Just a reminder, only 95% of you watching right now are actually subscribed. Even if you think you're subscribed, please look down below, click the subscribe button, make sure you're subscribed. It really does help out the channel. It's completely free, and you can always unsubscribe later. Appreciate you guys. We'll catch you in the next one. Peace.